So.
We're studying a new section here?
Yeah, I want to just go over back and then continue to the other Simonim to connect this. You have the Shin Ches, As Nun Dalad. I want to just go over this again. You have Shin Ches in yours and the new one, or just? I just want to say it over this, what we learned last week. We didn't finish inside, and go to Shin, Mem, the other places the Rabbi made copies. Explain, I wasn't prepared that you guys weren't so aware about this. The really question is not just soda bottles. We began speaking, open paper bags, open all these things, because about Shabbos. And the truth is, there are people, I want to tell you, machmer everything. There are people who just don't know and make everything. We have all the different extremes. But as a learning inside, it's good to know what is the halacha, what is the chumrah, what is based. So let me just go over this again. Nun Dalad. All right. Does everyone have a copy of this? Yeah. Just want to go over this short, this two things over here, and show how this is connected to later in the Shulchan Aruch. Because Torah is always called Aniyim B'Mukamacha, the Shir Mochacha. The Torah, we would like to have everything in the same place. But the greatness of Torah is some reason the Torah is made this way. Here is a little bit explained here. Now we have to bring them all together at one place. So the Rav discusses it here.
Newspapers do that to you. I'll put a part of the story on the front page, and then you got to go.
Yeah, you have to look.
Go back and forth.
Make sure you see some of the advertisements.
If I copied it from,
I just want to go over this because to understand this well. See, I want to explain where the source starts. Nun Dalad is a Gemara in Masechtas Shabbos. Gemara gives this case. Gemara says Zmoira, Zmoira in English is called, what is it called? A vine. Sheyesh Broisha Knumis. At the end of the vine, there's a branch sticking out, which is great to hold a bucket. So I have this long vine, which is very good, used to put a bucket into the well. So it shouldn't be Mukzeh, because this was used. They didn't have rope always, they used the vine. So Hilchos Mukzeh, Erev Shabbos, had in mind to take this vine and use it for a bucket. It's not Mukzeh. Still Usam Alas Boy, Eile Moisik Shure Bedlimi Erev Shabbos, unless it was tied to the Dli Erev Shabbos. Gzeira, why? Shemete Erichaloi, maybe it's going to be too long. V'yekiptmeni, he'll cut it. V'toch shiraka, it's soft. V'noi chaliktam, easy to snap. V'nisk nimtz m'sakim kelim Shabbos. You hear what he's saying? So this is a Gemara. This is right now the Rav did not add and subtract, quoted the Gemara. That even though I have a long vine and it's Mukzeh, I had in mind to use it Shabbos, so Mukzeh it's not. But I have a problem not it's Mukzeh. My biggest problem is over here is that I might use it Shabbos. Notice it's a little bit too long. I might crack off a piece, and if I did crack off a piece, I'm mechalel Shabbos. It's a draisa. Very frightening. That I made a tikkumana. This is a Gemara. So that's why you cannot use such a vine. So this is what we began explaining last week. So you see that if I have something long and I just cut off a piece to make it more comfortable, it's called tikkumana. So we explained last week, so the cover of the soda bottle is a problem because you're breaking it off just to make it a good cover. I don't have to have a big thing and... Okay, I'll do this.
what happened is that Rabbi Farkish answered and I forwarded to Rabbi Talman.
Yeah, you have to tell. You get it. My daughter didn't tell me anything. I usually don't look. What was I saying? Yeah, so this is what the Rav says.
What's the distinction as to whether it's actually attached to the bucket before Shabbos or not?
Once attached, we assume that since you attached it, you figured the measurement is okay, you're not going to snap it.
So he claims that once it was attached, it was a Maisa, and once you have a Maisa, you have a real Keli because a person made it.
That's not what Rashi says. Yeah, that's not what Rashi says. Rashi says we're not worried. The Rav doesn't be marach over here. I don't know why, but if that's his argument, I'll explain that next week. If that's his argument, I'll show you. Rashi learns the reason. Do you mind bringing me a Shabbos Gemara? Is there a Shas over here? Shabbos Gemara. I think Rashi learns the reason. Is my. Yeah. My memory, I haven't seen this Gemara probably in years, but as I remember, the Lashon Rashi is that once you fix it, let me quickly see the Rashi. Well, there's a Rashi in another place. We're going to have to find the Rashi. It's not on the place. Well, Kapuna, that's the question. Once it's tied, my memory goes back. I'll look it up again. My memory goes back. That reason, once it's tied, you're not going to do it. But once it's tied, you figure out that it's good, so you're not going to break it. Okay. Anyway, so this is the first one. The Nun Hey. Before we go on, I'm going to just say Nun Hey. Just part of what the Rabbi is saying. Anav shenechtech min ilme ben yoiv. If you have a branch that was cut off, mi boy yoim lahanav boy ala shulchan v'ri boy zvuvim. A fly swapper. So, I haven't seen it in years, but remember the Catskills was made from plastic. Remember those? So he says, "El Havri is a mitel hanav by Shabbos. The Talmud Shalken is shikim shtiach lekach al sekei legumer." If you have a piece of branch which you prepared before Shabbos to chase the flies, it's not muktzeh because people used to make this way. V'hiadinim yachad la'ayim al tanoikis. See, the Rav is medayik. What? You're not chase them. Yeah, you're not chase flies. So if you just have a stick to frighten the children, you designate before Shabbos, it's also okay. Now this, I remember, if you remember this, we still see once in a while, there used to be brooms made out of branches, brittle, I forgot what it was made from, those good old brooms. Still make it. And then if you sweep with them, it starts cracking after a while.
It's organic brooms, you pay 10 times more.
Yeah. Aber litlish anem in amach boydis ma broom, shemachad boy ba shel de klishes im saknen listamish ma shukhuv ishtamish boy. He wants to take out a piece of the broom for a toothpick, let's say. Now a broom, take off, I haven't seen those brooms, but in good old days you were able to crack off a piece. Must use as a toothpick. So he says, he says, he wants to hit the children with them. You should know that taking it out of a broom, it is called tikkun keli. Which we're going to soon see, that any time, but the chiddush over here, even though it's a keli, it is a broom, all I'm taking out is a small piece, which is going to become a different type of a keli. Till now it was a broom, now I'm taking out to threaten the children to use a toothpick, so it became a new keli. That's tikkun on, it's also Smerat Torah. Filal de nochri. Tell a guy, because it's an Issa D'Raisa. That's very important. You're not allowed to. You see, I used to see, when I grew up, it was much better. In the pictures, old pictures, you used to see, they was tie around, able to pull out a piece. So even though it's, what type of broom is it, doesn't make a difference. By pulling out a piece, you're going to use it or something else. It's called an Issa D'Raisa, even with a goy, you're not allowed to, he says. Wenn sich leim Schuss Lischbar anaf mit beide Shesh Shviris oit is ze Shviris Keilich und Shishalam Zaim. That we later learn. Can't learn everything, but he adds another thing that I have. If you're not allowed to break a broom. So even though you're not going to make it into a keli, you're breaking it off. Since you're breaking part of the broom, there's an Isser Shviris Kelim Sham. You're not allowed to destroy a keli in Shabbos.
So it's like the two examples, one was pulling like a reed out from the broom. You can't do it because now you're making a new
Keli.
The other one you can't snap it off.
Can't snap just to break it.
Meaning just snapping it off, this thing might be mutter.
Maybe you're not going to make a keli, but you just want to snap it off. So it's a Isser of breaking a keli.
So is this a general rule that any time you have a keli that you want to take a piece off and use it for another even good purpose?
Right, that's Isser Daraisa.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's the general rule.
Right. Al Kishemoitzi Anaf Shulam. Now I don't know exactly. This sounds like the brooms are made out of Lego somehow. Listen what he says. Al Kishemoitzi Anaf Shulam. Emezem Shtin Stei Zeh Doimele Keli Shel Prukim. This was pieces. We're able to take out a whole piece and put it back. So if I take out a whole piece, that's not called soise, and it's not called tikimuna. Shem of course Shem soise it came to kuim b'chayzik the imnis, unless it's very tightly made. Seems like you're able to take apart the broom, make it into two parts.
So they would wrap, a handful of straws, and then they'd wrap another handful of straws, and another handful.
Yeah, somehow.
And then they wrap all of them.
Yeah, so if you take one out, since it's not very tight, we're going to have this later a lot about this question. Why, about Legos and mostly Legos is the problem nowadays. No one has kalim that we take apart and put together anymore. We do have a not folding table. People have to take out a piece from the table. How's it called? A leaf. Yeah. But let's leave things. Let's focus on something else.
When you hit the kid, you have to hit him with the whole broom. That's it.
The Chazan is shir, as they say. Okay.
Also, presumably, it's not a problem if you use the broom to sweep and the straw breaks.
But if it's not obsecration, right? We'll learn. Right.
Second, that keli didn't exist as loyal.
No, we'll later learn about it. Mechaber talks about it later. I want to rather just focus what we're learning because we could go off and we'll never. So what we learned over here is that clearly Gemara, you're not allowed to break off from a broom a piece to use it for anything else. Use it for toothpick to hurt the children, doesn't make a difference because you're creating a new keli. Even with the goy, says the Rav, and the reason it's also it's Issa D'Raisa, we later learn this. It's Issa D'Raisa. So anytime you break something to make it into a keli, it becomes a tikimona. So this is we have to now focus to compare everything that we know. But before we go, I want to learn two other halachas because what we're going to see. So again, this is clear. Breaking a keli, So I explained last week, so taking off the plastic cover of a soda bottle, when you crack it, there's a tikkun mona involved. It's an Issa D'Raisa, according to this. I wish it wouldn't. I'm trying to have people convince me. And I had to be bigger Tamid Chum try. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Because the Ar Meireru is an Etzisol who hold its mutter, and whenever I ask the Tamidim, I don't understand exactly the argument. But this.
Rabbi Farkas, I showed it with other people, Rabbi Tauber didn't get it. That's why.
Yeah, it doesn't. Just because it's plastic, that doesn't.
It's plastic, because it was made by man.
So that doesn't make a
It's
difference.
something that was made by a person. The fact that it was made, it's a keli. And now you're upgrading it. Masha'inking, something that was made by nature, it's only the machshava that was miyachaded. It's not a keli yet. It's not mukzeh, but it's not a keli. So then making it better is making it a keli on Shabbos.
That's such a.
That's why.
Would
Yeah.
the same halacha,
Such a
Nundal that
difference.
apply?
Well, why, there's a broom, the broom
Would
is
Nundal
there.
that apply if we made a rope and had the rope that went into the well? Is the same halacha?
Yeah, that would be a
Then
tikimana.
that's a man-made thing.
Yeah,
It's the
same thing. It's the same. I mean, it's very hard to understand
It was
this.
man-made rope that you had in the well. Nundal that apply.
Then-
It's
then-
strictly
then-
one.
We don't. I want to explain something. There's a famous saying in yeshivas, "Shar chalukim no nilali." You heard this expression? To make difference, you could always find differences. You could always say, "This is red, this is green, this is plastic, this is," but that doesn't fit the picture. So what? It's man-made, not man-made, made of plastic. The problem is you see cutting something to make it more comfortable becomes a keli. It doesn't make a difference if you know,
The definition is how you define Mukzeh. So going back
no, not Mukzeh. We focus not Mukzeh. Focusing, we have a vine that's even used before Shabbos. Even used, so that, but it wasn't.
It wasn't made for it.
Yeah, no, so.
It was just a machshava.
So it makes it worse. Something that you plan to use it, that makes things worse. Don't make it better. Well, it's very hard to understand. Because he wants to say that there's a difference if it were. The bottom line, I'll show later that we'll see cases where it was the getchil, even though you're using it. The Rav is not focusing on the here. He's focusing on Hilchos Mukzeh. But let's say it was not tied. You used it before Shabbos. It was not tied. Still, the Gemara says you cannot use it because I might come Shabbos, decide it's too long, you cut it off.
Maybe might still be different.
The cap on the bottle is designed to take it off.
Right, so that makes it worse. Doesn't make it better. Because now you really made it into a keli. Till now it wasn't good. You finally was a designated. It was mamish. Just it makes it worse. Here we have a vine. It's usable. I just don't like it too long. I cut off a piece. I made a keli. Just that's what I did.
Prepared to be another keli, but not yet another keli.
Right, and that makes it worse. I prepared this to be a keli. Now by cutting it off, I finally finished it. That always makes things worse in Shabbos Mamakim Apatish.
Does the same apply to the metal bottle caps or the?
Same thing. It used to be different types. Yeah, there was different types if you remember those days. Some used to just crack. Some used to. It depends on the mitzvahs. It's hard. But let's focus on today. I haven't seen that in years. But let's focus. This is a problem. Yeah.
Practically, I was at a Shabbos table of Shabbos where they opened the bottles and the plastic itself came up and was part of the bottle cap. In other words, it didn't separate the plastic.
In Israel, the Israeli wants to do that way like a tchila, where it stays with it. It just cracks open.
Yeah, it came up and it was part of the cap.
Yeah. Let me explain. But in Israel, because they made such a tumult, what type? It wasn't a regular soda. It was an Israeli drink.
It was a sparkling water. I think it was cold water or something. I don't think it was Israeli.
It's a shmata cap that they think they don't work it.
Yeah. No, but in Eretz Yisrael, no. In Eretz Yisrael, the bottles are made that it doesn't rip off. It just cracks. So some hold, it didn't rip off, just cracked. It didn't do anything. It just gets a little bit, even that, I could hear it just cracked. It didn't, it was just tight and cracked. That's what they did. That's so they designed such a thing. Okay. So this is Atkan. Let's just see. Yeah. Which one did you copy? Which So let's page Tufkuf. It's Simashi Dalet Sif Yid. You have Rabbi say. Now this is it's very interesting because Shini Dalet talks about Kalim, but this is what's negay for us. So we'll focus on this. The Rav says this is also Gemara. In once upon a time, it's so hard for us to imagine this. Everyone had a barrel of wine at home. Didn't have bottles of wine. Had a barrel of wine, and the problem was with the spout. The spout used to break. It wasn't a thing like we have today. If a spout breaks, the whole barrel goes out by us. But no, they had to create a spout. So they would take leaves. It's a Gemara. You're not allowed to take a leaf made of hadassim. I'm putting a leaf in because I want, when I open the spout, the wine should not fall straight, should be a spout. You'll be able to catch it. I don't know how you translate marzev in English. A gutter, funnel. That's a word. So you want the wine to just, he said, Zeta, why? Shem Yisakin, marzev, leyenu. If I'm going to put a leaf there, maybe I'm going to go, mamish, make a stick and fix something for it. Ship behind the Toich Yedel Mukzeh. A Mashi goes, he came in the skin of school of Chulil, before you brought down, if you have a stick that has a hole in it, like a bamboo stick, tough kuf, the page. So he says, why aren't you allowed to put a stick there, like a straw here? You don't do anything to it. All you do is put it into the barrel. So we're not going to, you're going to cut something, fix something. See, straw, they used to have a pipe, for made of wood. Just put it in there. There's nothing to do. That you could do. No one's going to say, since you could do this, something else. A leaf, since I got to roll the leaf, and I got to put the leaf, be fitting into it. It's a whole, I could do this, then I could do more. He takes it and rolls it. So this is two teretzim in the Gemara. First opinion is one teretz in the Gemara, with the reason you're not allowed to take a leaf and put it there, because maybe I'm going to take something major and fix and make into a marzah. That's the first opinion. Yesh Omrim, the second opinion. No, that's not the Gzeira. This Allah is going to get ruined, this leaf. You hear what I'm going to do? I have a branch. Cut off. I have a Chassidim, I don't know what Chabad doesn't do it, but according to the Rizal, you're supposed to smell Hadass on Friday night. I don't know if you know, the Sfardim do it. So, I buy from our flower lady. She knows every Friday to give me Hadassam. So you're allowed to rip off Hadassam from a cut branch. Nothing wrong. On Shabbos, it's a cut branch. You're allowed to rip it off. That's not the problem over here. Our problem is, if I rip off the leaf to fit it into the hole, I was over an Issa Daraisa. So even though I have a leaf now, before Shabbos, cut off leaf that I should be able to roll up and put it in, I'm not allowed to do that, because I might the next time rip off a leaf from a cut off branch. And by ripping it off to use it for that, it becomes a keli, you chayav chatas. Remember we said that's the chiddush of a tikemona. I'm allowed to rip off the leaf to smell it. But if I rip off the leaf because I want to put it in as a marzev, I was a tikemona over here.
The tikemona was on the hadas.
On the leaf.
On the hadas.
On the hadas, the leaf.
You made it usable to put it, to make it.
Yeah, by ripping it off and having a mind to put it there, I was tikemona. This is the yisod. I want to explain. This is a big yisod that tikemona has to do with your mind. If I don't eat it, if I want to smell it, I'm allowed to rip it off and smell it. It's not a keli you're smelling. You can smell it this way, that way. You just made it comfortable to smell. You didn't create something. By ripping it off right now, this hadas, I'm going to put it in the hole in the barrel, and to make it the wine, not to fall on the wall. So I created a keli now.
So you see, a maisa in something is something significant.
Yeah. I have to do something, rip something off. Even though, like before the branch, I have a long branch, I cut off a piece. That is a tikkun. I have a leaf. See, people have this idea. I have to have, who knows what, let me just finish. Who knows what to make a tikkumuna? All I did was take a leaf, and how long is the leaf going to last? We all know that it gets soaking wet and it's going to last for an hour. You're going to have another leaf. This is called tikkumuna. What'd you say?
You make the same thing. I rip it off in order to I might take it. I use it also for this.
Since you have to say, the Gemara asked the kasha. The Gemara says, the Gemara says, since you're using for someone, we're not worried, you could change it. For this, we are worried. But the Gemara speaks about that. Let me just finish.
So if I don't have in mind to use it as a spout, I just have in mind, I'm playing with it, I roll it up. I'm allowed to do that.
Yes.
So it's strictly...
That's why I want to learn this to show. Remember you explained, when I take it off not to use it, it's not to tikkumuna. Remember I explained last week, if I regular...
Mukzeh though, like a candy wrapper.
Yeah, but once you're allowed to take it off and throw it away like a candy wrapper. Well, I'm focusing, this is the kuda, that I want to explain. From here you see, by tikkumuna, if I have a mind, the keli becomes a keli. If I don't have a mind, so if I turn it off and I want to throw away the top of the soda bottle, there's no problem. It's only when I rip it off to have a use of it. Let's just finish. I know you're going to finish. Yeah, that's what I do at my home. If they didn't open it, we just toss it. I have a 20 in the drawer in case. Let me just finish. You'll see what he's saying. Anything Shabbos that you rip off to use something is called tikkun keli. We'll soon see it. And you understand? So remember I explained last week, if you cut silver foil to wrap it, it's called tikkun mon. It's a daraisa. Someone was asking over here. So cutting silver foil. It's tikkun mon. It's makabah patish. But let's take all tikkun mon is a told of makabah patish. You know, maybe another time I'll explain. There's a whole arichas how we'll go off topic. We'll explain maybe next week. I'll explain how makabah patish works. But upon him, this is a told of the malacha. So anything you know, toilet paper if you cut is a tikkun mon, or that you know, people still do it. But in the times of the people told me that people cut paper to fry fish. You know, but it's there you could buy special paper for that. But that's also so when someone didn't know. Many years ago, a guy came to a shul arguing that he cut paper to fish. Yantav says Yantav you're allowed to do it. If I'm allowed to cook, I'm allowed to. I told him very nice, but there's a Mishnah that says even Yantav you're not allowed to. He was giving me a hard time. I always tell people, you can't argue with Talmud Bavli. It's a nice sefer. It's very clearly, the Mishnah says, even Yontav, you cannot cut the paper. It's called Tikkun. Yontav, Tikkun, it's amazing. You're allowed to cook, but you can't cut paper Yontav to do that. This is the Chiddush, Rabbi say. This is a Chiddush which Tosis says, I think, is based on Tosis. Tzadik Beis. He says, so he's bothered something that's animal feed, you say? Food? Father, there's no, the Gemara says there's no tikkun mana. If I take straw what the animal eats and did something, there's no tikkun mana. Why? When do we say that something is animal feed, there is no tikkun mana? It's something if I want to take animal feed and make a keli out of that itself. He says, if I take straw, which is animal feed, and I break off a piece to have a toothpick, that's not a problem. Because animal feed, there is no tikkun mana. Because why? Why? Because normally it doesn't last, and it's not made to last. Since it's not made to last, it's very soft. That's what they're saying. Says, let me explain this, what he's saying. To make a complete keli from animal feed, no one ever does that. But to have a keli and take animal feed to fix a keli, we do. This leaf is animal feed. So if I would create a keli with the animal feed, it's not a problem in our Torah. It's only in our Torah, but the Rambam will be a problem. But if I take this leaf and I put it to a barrel, which is a keli, that people do all the time, adding a leaf to the barrel, and that's a problem. And I said that's what he's saying. So Bekitzer, he's bothered, but totally something else. This is the Rab, this is a Ram, this is the Rishon Master Kashan, this is a Ram, which makes an afkamina. Creating a keli from animal feed is not a problem, sort of to say, but that's why they know, if you know, the many people take the matzah, make a hole in it, and hang it up. There's a skula for who knows what. You don't know this? It's brought down in early Elchonon. The Pri Megadim brings this skula. The people take a matzah left over from the afikomen, and they hang it up on the door. The skula should be Srs05. I'm not sure what the skula is. My own Rebbetzin does it. I don't know what the skula is exactly. But I do it at Shalom Bayis. That's my skula. What exactly it does? But I saw the skula brought down. She learned from her mother. I saw it brought down. But the point was, the Pri Megadim speaks about it, to make it on Yontiv, to make a whole food. You're allowed to make, I don't know if you know, I really want to go off topic, but there's a big question, can I make, people make from salads, birds, and how's it called? roses on Shabbos. You ever know the question? Can I make? People are very artistic. I have a daughter. Could 1, 2, 3 could take a pepper and make a bunch of roses out of it. You know what I mean? She knows that are cut and vegetables. That's a big question. If you're allowed to do the Yom Tov Shabbos, the Mishnah Berurah says you shouldn't do it. Based on this Gemara too, but a little differently. I don't want to go into certain side topics. Well, one day I'll explain it. But Kapanim, well, the Rav brings down. This is the round that says animal feed to create a keli is not a problem. But when I take a leaf and I put it to a barrel, that leaf you ripped off from a branch, you're chayev chatas. This is tikkumana. Now he goes on. If he svarazi, sheni sebenesinis alneke shemuch elim shemi yiktoy. So he said, you have the next page. Loi asich chomem, asich sheyesh harba alam ketumim b'yoyim. What happens? You have many prepared. She'az elu cheshemi yiktoyim. You're not worried. Maybe he's going to because she'afim iskalkel echod shnayim. 1 or 2 is going to be miskalkel. Yesh lo yoyit. Vein chashem iskalkel kilom. So he's saying, what happens if I have many leaves prepared? Then there's no problem using it on Yom Tov. Because because I have plenty of leaves prepared. So I'm not going to rip it off from a branch. Let's have 10 leaves ripped off. Which what I do, the soda bottles, that's what I want to do. What I do with the soda bottle, I have a bunch in the drawer lined up ready from other times. So if Shabbos they forget, which of these Shabbos exactly? We had a guest and he only drinks diet Coke, non-caffeine, ganze Megillah. My daughter dug it out from the garage. The kid says, so all you got to do is you take it off, you throw it away, you take from the drawer another one. So because if you're not prepared, so that is the question. Just because you're not going to do it, that's many hold that's not good. Because just like about the leaf, you might use it, but if you have many at home, that's not a problem. That's exactly what I do. We have the things, and in case that happens, you just throw it away.
So if you have many leaves, you can use them as a spout?
Yeah, the Isser is not. No. The Isser is not folding the leaf into a spout. That was the first opinion. Second opinion holds the Isser is that if I'm going to rip her off a cut branch, and ripping off a leaf from a cut branch is called tikkumana. So that's amazing. If I don't have, we don't need spouts today, so I could rip as many leaves out of a cut branch. If I have a cut branch of a dasan, I'll rip her off. There's no problem. But if I rip her off because I want to use it a keli, it becomes a malocha then. This is tikkumana has the only thing that Shabbos is tikkumana has. It depends what you're thinking. You know what I mean? If you don't have no purpose whatsoever for a keli, so when people say you're never allowed to take off, the only reason if I wouldn't have prepared because Xader, like over here, if I don't have, maybe I'll take it off the next time. I'll forget myself. But if you have plenty, that's really the basis that I want to bring out from here. But I'm trying to say, you don't need. You see from this halacha, you don't need who knows what to make a tikkumana. Many people don't think that to make a tikkumana, I gotta who knows what. All you did is rip a leaf off and you chayev chatas. It's frightening. I do agree it's frightening, but okay. Then I want to learn. That was Shimam. Which was it?
Just turn the page.
Is this the McClure that everybody else brings while you can't open it?
No.
Okay.
They bring another. It's very hard for me to look. 20 years ago, I looked into all the Chayim. I haven't had a chance. What they do? I think so. No. On the bottle? Yeah, I don't know. I honestly didn't look it up now.
What's the source that everybody brings that you can't open the bottle? Is it this? And he said it's not.
The kids, he tried to corner Rabbi Farkash and he wouldn't say, but he didn't want to say it's yes or mutter. Didn't answer.
He answered through his son, so all the emails went through his son. That one was already a good.
I'll call him up. No, because I asked around other Chabad rabbis. They don't, there's no one in Chabad who took a stand, he told me.
I can ask him.
Yeah. You have to, it will be a mitzvah to someone just to print, because I asked a few people in Chabad who know halacha, and everyone says differently. No one is,
we're going to have a Obama Chadayim, we'll ask him tonight.
Yeah, we'll ask him. Yeah.
Maybe there's something on Rabbi Yosef.
The Rabbi Farkash right away, when he sent the first answer to Rabbi Tauber's question, he said this is the machlekes of Rabbi Oyerbach and Rabbi Yosef. So then I just said that Rabbi Tauber is asking, why doesn't anyone bring in the Zmoida case?
Yeah. I want to explain something. I don't chas v'sholom want. The Rabbi Yosef is incredible big. Nothing. He's an incredible Talmud Chacham. But our Ashkenazi Messiah didn't learn the way he learns. The Sfardim had a whole different Messiah, especially the Rav. You see how we learn. We try to compare it well. He has very interesting Sfardim. That's what the Ashkenazim. They have more. They're more covered for Orletzian. What is his name? Orletzian. Abba Shol. I forgot his last name. It's also a big Sfardim Shirov. Big Sfardim Shirov. Because he works with the Lamdas, with the Gemara. Not. Rabbi Yosef could say, he's a Mishnah Talmud Chacham. It's not the way we Ashkenazim are used to looking at things. That's why, but he's a Pesach, a Sfardi, could be like a Triller Soimach, that's the Messiah, nothing, he's an incredible person. Okay, I just want to, which number was it, Shimon? What did you say? Well, the Sfardim held that a sheitel is also the period. Yeah. Yeah. The reason we see that also, the Ashkenazim held, the Rav holds. No. The Rav, people don't know this. I explained this once. The Rav held that you're allowed to wear a sheitel. That's what it says in the Shulchan Aruch. That he held Pshat the Megavrom. Not everyone agreed that's what the Megavrom meant, but the Rav clearly says in Hilchos Krishma, you're allowed to wear a sheitel. But people don't know the second half of the Rav. But he says you cannot go on the street without stockings. That Rav Chabad somehow sometimes forgets. And we spoke about it.
They rely on the Prima.
Right. All of a sudden the Rav. Not only the Rav, I told someone who's a Talmud Chacham, Chabad, he was shocked. And I showed him not only the Rav says it, Tzemach Tzedek in the Tshuva also says it. He says very clear in the Dover Pashut that Shoik you're not allowed to walk without stockings. When people are, unless the skirt is to the floor, yeah. When people just now, someone asked me, a lady was giving me a hard time. So I tell you the truth. It's very hard to negotiate with the Rabbi Shalom. Try, maybe not, maybe not. He says, it's not up to me, but the Rabbi Shalom gave us the rules. Yes, that's that's the halacha, is the halacha. Okay. Which daf is it? Okay. That's Yud Zayin. You see? This Rav is discussed with all the Chronim after the Rav. This Mamish, they build the Mamish, you say this from this Rav. It's hard for you to appreciate it, but Kamat, no one who talks about plastic and cutting, one of the first addresses the Rav. This is the first, he says like this. Afapi, two fresh involved. You have it? Yud Zayin. Yud Zayin. 2 pages, too fresh. So, Afi shechtiches tolish miteres likitchila, k'sheine makir l'chotcha b'midder, k'mekshar s'mishin yidalet. If you don't care the size, you're allowed to cut something. You're allowed to cut something if you're not interested in the size. But I just said, I'm allowed to cut off a leaf. I just said, I'm allowed to cut off a leaf from a branch. I cut off a leaf. If you don't care what they're doing, it's okay.
If you feel that
Well, let's
don't care about it.
no, but we'll still see in a minute. Why it's exactly what you just asked. I'm not cutting it off the silver foil with a measurement. Whatever comes. But I'm going to now use it. He says, Chayev, listen to his words. Chayev chatas, not a derbanan. Chayev mishim tiking keli im echatchoy besakin. Because those days that's how they used to do it. Nowadays the silver foil, there's an edge over there. So if you cut silver foil, like it comes today with the edge, you chayev chatas. So because that's the derech, and I, even though I don't care for the measurements, I'm not interested big, small. I just need a piece. So you chayev chatas. So
Cuts it without using the edge?
then the midrabanim is also. Since it's the derech to cut silver foil with an edge, he could without it's midrabanim also. He says, "Geknit kim shloi besaken putar avarusa." Lefikach ein shoivrim esacheres. You're not allowed to break pieces of pottery. In the good old days, and everything was pottery. So when a pottery broke, they put it aside, so you break off a piece. They used to fry fish on pieces of pottery. I just know from the Gemara. But they used to, this is what they used to use pieces. So a guy breaks off a piece of pottery, he wants to use it. Finish. If you rip a cheres, you break a cheres, to use it now is mamish, you know. So cutting toilet paper, cutting paper. I don't have any word. What else do we do nowadays? We're going to talk a little about opening bags, and I just want to focus what he's saying right now. Oh, Avol Mishim Kreya. This is the most quoted Rav. Avol Mishim Kreya, Ein Iser, Erikush Kreya. Well, he's now. Let me start again. We are focused on 3 halachas. One halacha is you're not allowed to cut with exact measurements. So that we're not worried right now because he doesn't care the measurements. Second problem, we are focused on tikkun mona. You want to make a tikkun. So that problem is a problem. Now what happens, there's no tikkun mona. There's a third question. How about kreya? One of the lamates maluchas is ripping. What happened to that famous malucha of ripping? Well, why are you busy tikkun mona? You ripped silver for, you ripped the paper. So he explains, Amishim kreya ein iser, ele kreya imafred gufen rabben shinischabri, kreya bege de orig. He holds, the Rav has a myridig skill over here. He says kreya only applies to a beged, to a garment, because it's made from threads. It was threads, connected, and now you rip it. The base of the Rav is a shini dalet. There's a tesefta that the Rishonim bring down. They use, just like today we seal a bottle of wine, we seal it with a cork and you put some lead. The cover is a lead cover. I don't know if people know this. So, the expensive wine, top of the cork, that's a wrapper, is a lead wrapper. People don't know this. It's made out of lead. Anyways, it keeps fresh the wine. So those days, they would wrap the top, didn't have leather, didn't have such fancy thing. They would have a piece of leather, very well fitted. It says if you have a piece of leather, you're allowed to cut it open. You're allowed to cut open the leather and pour wine out of it. So the Rav wants to explain why is there no krey over there. Understand? The way we seal a bottle today, always, we used to seal it with leather. It says just rip the leather and pour out. So the Rav is mechadish, because leather is one piece the whole time, like paper, plastic. There's no Issa Kareya. The Issa is only if by ripping, I'm going to create a keli. Let's say I rip this over here, I'm going to create a silver foil to wrap it. Or I will talk a bag soon. I rip a plastic when I created a bag. But if you don't create anything, the ripping itself is not a problem. Not everyone agrees to this Rav. But that's what the Rav holds, he says. Stuck, then is ripping. Right. So according to Alter Rebbe, if you open a cereal box, is a problem. On the place. Cereal box is a thing, it's glued, and that will be a problem. Now, it's not. But it's glued. Yeah, it's 2 flaps are glued, but it's glued. So the Rav is machadish. We will see that things that are glued, opening is called chaytech. It's only if you rip the middle of the cardboard, but since the cardboard was folded and there's glue, that will be kreya. We'll see in a minute. He says this. Avanai she give echad 1 piece. Ein bepsikuse chetuchem shin kreya. So metam zezug the Rav mit the or shapir chovistis yishalme kemosh ksavas shishin yidalit. Like I wrote the shin yidalit nishaor he give echad l'shay b'sikriya el iser achitach imak b'chat chemin kemosh ksav nisham. So now again, so what we see from here, this is a very important kula, that there's no Issa Kreya, only tikkun mona. So you're allowed to, now the question, how about opening a plastic bag, potato chip bag, right, or whatever these bag. So according to the Rav, ripping at it, not with his letters. Someone said last week over the Rabbi Yosef says you're allowed to rip it with the letters. The Sfadi said also. See, that is also not accepted by Ashkenazim. The Ramos says not to do it. See, not everything, the Rav also says that hopefully we'll get it there. We have a different Messiah. I mean, not Chas V'Shalom, saying it's a. But anyway, so opening a plastic bag, If you rip it in a place where you're not creating a bag, then it's okay. Ripping is not a problem. You didn't create a bag. You understand?
You create a keli if it was closed and now it's open.
Yeah, no, ripping in a destructive way. But if you open it nice, you cut it, a nice cut, sometimes they have a place where you could nicely just rip it open nicely, you have a bag, that will be many holes. You created a bag now. That's a problem. I'll soon tell you the makilim, but first, let me just focus on this itself.
But it's a different halacha than the halacha of opening a bottle cap, right? Because the bag already exists. It already is a bag. So you're not making it a keli. You're just...
Well, I'll explain. That's a big machlokes. That's very good what you just said. I'm going to get back to you what you just said. Let me just finish and explain what you just said. This is a big machlokes, Chazon Ish and all the others, what he just said. But I'll explain in a minute. I just want to finish, otherwise... What?
What's the issue with opening the bag?
It's if you're creating a bag, you're making a tikkamana. That's the called tikkamana the whole time. So ripping it is not a problem. Because there's no ripping according to the Rav. The problem is if you created a bag now. Like a papish. A bag.
The bags are in a cereal box.
Let's talk about potato chips. We'll get back to cereal box in a minute. The next Mechaba. Let's just talk a potato chip bag. If I remember, I don't need potato chip, but I think there's a place where you can rip it neatly open, right? Sometimes. Let's just say, I don't remember. It's made, let's say you have a bag, it doesn't have to be made. You just neatly open it up. The problem is, did I create a bag now? So he's saying, Binyamin is trying to say, wait, it was a bag. This is a famous question.
That'll be a better bag.
Better the bag, correct?
I have to take this one. I'm sorry about this.
Take a water. So what's creating?